The night Hache returned, the city felt like it was holding its breath. Rain slicked the asphalt, neon lights bled into puddles, and Gin sensed him before she saw him, like a familiar ache waking up after years of silence. He stood across the street, helmet under his arm, eyes darker than memory, carrying the weight of every goodbye they never finished. Her heart slammed once, hard, and she knew that whatever she had rebuilt would be tested the moment their eyes met. Years ago, they had loved each other with the reckless intensity of youth, believing fire was the same thing as forever. Hache had lived fast, chased danger, and treated the road like a promise that never broke. Gin had believed in him, believed love could soften the edges of his storms. But storms do not ask permission before they destroy. A night of violence, a loss that cut too deep, and Hache disappeared, leaving Gin with unanswered questions and a love that had nowhere to go. She learned to survive without him, learned to choose safety over chaos, even as her heart whispered his name when the city went quiet. Seeing him again cracked the careful calm she had built. They spoke with guarded words, circling memories like they might burn if touched. Hache said he had come back to make peace with the past. Gin heard the truth beneath it, he was running again, this time from regret. She wanted to tell him she had learned to live without the heat, that she had chosen a steadier life. But the space between them vibrated with all the things they had never said, and it terrified her how quickly the old pull returned. Their first challenge was learning how to talk without fighting the past. Every conversation threatened to become a battlefield of blame and longing. Gin demanded honesty, not the half-truths that once kept her awake at night. Hache struggled to slow down, to sit with his mistakes instead of outrunning them. He confessed the fear that had driven him away, that loving her meant risking her safety, that his darkness would swallow them both. Gin admitted her own fear, that loving him again would undo all the progress she had made, that she would lose herself in his fire. The city became their witness as they tried again, carefully. Long walks replaced reckless rides. Coffee at dawn replaced nights fueled by adrenaline. They laughed like old friends and argued like people who still cared too much. Hache found work repairing bikes, learning patience with every bolt he tightened. Gin faced her own ghosts, recognizing how she had mistaken intensity for intimacy in the past. Together, they practiced choosing each other in small, deliberate ways. But growth does not erase temptation. Trouble followed Hache like a shadow, an old rival offering fast money and faster danger. The offer glittered with everything Hache used to be. When Gin discovered it, the betrayal cut deep. It wasn't the money or the risk that hurt, it was the feeling of being left behind again. Their argument spilled into the street, voices shaking, truths finally breaking free. Gin told him she would not be collateral damage in his war with himself. Hache realized that love was no longer about proving fearlessness, it was about staying. The decision cost him. He walked away from the deal, from the thrill that once defined him, and with it lost friends who only loved his recklessness. The city seemed colder without that old heat, but something steadier took its place. Gin, too, made sacrifices. She faced her fear of vulnerability, choosing to trust not because it was easy, but because it was brave. They learned that passion could exist without destruction, that desire did not have to scorch everything it touched. When the past finally caught up to them, a confrontation that threatened to reopen old wounds, they stood together. Hache did not run. Gin did not retreat. They faced the consequences side by side, choosing truth over silence. In that moment, the fire between them transformed, no longer wild and consuming, but strong enough to light the way forward. On a quiet night, far from the noise, Hache and Gin watched the city breathe beneath them. The heat was still there, undeniable and alive, but it no longer demanded sacrifice. It asked for care, for patience, for presence. Gin rested her head on his shoulder, and Hache understood that wanting someone was not about hunger alone, it was about choosing them every day, even when the road tempted him to disappear. Their story did not promise perfection. It promised effort, forgiveness, and the courage to grow beyond who they had been. And as the city lights flickered below, they knew that the strongest fire was the one that warmed without burning, the one that endured.